Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
Suffering from dry, tired, irritated eyes? Don't let dry eyes win. Use Systane Pro. It hydrates, restores, and protects dry eyes for up to 12 hours. Systane Pro. Triple action dry eye relief.
All right, welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast. Kevin and Chuck. Today, we're going to talk underground shelter. I guess I've been worried about, like, in a real SHTF, end of the world scenario, I feel like you're always on guard. You're never going to really be able to rest easy, like, oh, we're secure now. You know, unless you have like the mountaintop camp and you could see.
Right. You got to have like a castle or
10 miles out. Right. You're in the middle of the desert.
And then where are you going to get your water when you're on the mountaintop?
You know, whatever. It seems like you're always on guard. So I don't know. You're always going to be like, well, I wish I could have a little peace. And I feel like, man, you know, you light a fire and you have smoke and, you know, you smell campfire miles and miles away, you know, or a mile away.
Yeah, I can smell my neighbor when I'm in my backyard and he's burning plastic across the street.
When I'm burning crap in my backyard,
that's different.
My wife will come home and she'll be like, I can smell you 2 miles up the road. You know, she names some landmark and is like, I was over at the Legion and I can smell your fire. And I was like, I bet that's him. And I'm like, yeah, that was me. And I mean, that's the thing. It really, I mean, obviously there are different ways to make a fire to have less smoke and be a little bit less of a problem.
Right, but we're not, this isn't a show about that.
But that's for another day. But, so, anyway, when you're hiding out, like even, so say, you know, everybody bugs out of town and you go like 2 miles into the woods and you build your log cabin and you're camping out. I feel like people get hungry enough, they might stumble on you. You know, and how far can you really go into the middle of nowhere? You know, you got to get there. You got to get your supplies there. So I was thinking underground shelter. And I was reading a book or listening to an audio book. It was called like the EMP Lodge series.
Okay. And
it was like a trilogy or something, whatever. And one of the people, it ended up being like an A-frame or something and like half like buried in the bushes and stuff. But it just got me thinking about, gee, you know, the real way to hide from everybody is an underground house. I mean, if you had a shelter that's pretty much a cave and you can cover the entrance, you're there forever with no problems. All you got to worry about is your campfire smoke.
Right.
And you don't need to have a fire all the time, maybe in the winter. But also, if you're in the middle of the woods in the winter, not a lot of people trekking around.
Right.
Because that's tough. But, and, you know, I think if you set up your shelter properly, people could walk right over it and never be the wiser. Oh, you know, I keep hearing a guy over there hunting. I hear his gun go off. You know, maybe you switch to, you know, archery and have a bow, maybe a crossbow, something like that. But I feel like you could really disappear, and an underground shelter could really be the key to a lot of that. So I found this book, the $50 and up underground house book. And the guy, the author's name is Mike Oler. And a lot of good ideas in there. And me and Kevin, we did some research. So we got a lot of good ideas. And we're going to tell you about a bunch of different ways you can do some, you know, cool setups. But it's just something you should have in the back of your mind as a kind of last resort arsenal. But even though I say last resort, I was also thinking, you know, I got like, I don't know, I have like 12 acres around me that, you know, are private. And even with 2 acres, if I had an underground shelter in the backyard, I feel like nobody would even notice it. Like if they came to rob me, they're not going to be like, oh, and, it just would go overlooked. And I think even like in the apocalypse kind of thing, when you have your roving gang, you could be right in town. Now, again, if you're on like a 10th acre lot,
Right.
maybe a little trickier for them to not notice it. But if you got, some trees and some woods around on your property, I think you could really set up something that could even be a fallback location and, maybe an asset. Now, we're going to talk about things that you can build with today's modern world and tools and cement and different things. And also things that you can build on the fly, when you hike into the woods with a chainsaw or maybe even just an axe. And maybe you can do it just with your bare hands. But, so Kevin, you're going to tell us about some of the
let's
different
talk
types?
about some of the benefits of an underground home,
All right.
aside of just being hidden,
I like it.
which is a big deal.
All right.
But an underground home is also resistant to wind, fire, earthquakes. You're kind of protected from all those
And
things.
it keeps a constant moderate temperature.
That's right. Very energy efficient.
So you're going to be a lot colder than outside or a lot warmer than outside in the wintertime. And you're going to be a lot colder than outside in the summertime.
Right. Most underground homes, you're going to be around, 60, 65 degrees. So, I mean, you're really only heating your house up, maybe 10 degrees tops.
They could be short, you heat it up for a little bit and then
Right.
bring her up to 80 and then...
Now, one thing that, we'll get into that in a minute. Let's start talking about the first one on the list here is constructed caves.
Well, did you have other benefits? Was that it?
No.
Geothermal?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Constructed caves. That's basically,
So if we live in the Ozarks...
it's basically like digging a mine. You're tunneling into the ground. Now, it's pretty expensive to do if you're going to have, a professional come and build it for you. And if you're doing it yourself, it's kind of dangerous.
On G.I. Joe, they had those cool drill trucks things
Yes.
that just kind of bore right in.
Ninja Turtles, they would do that.
They did that.
Go
Yep.
up through they just show up from
So
underground.
if you got something like that, this is the go-to for
right,
you.
no problem. Call Elon Musk. Apparently, he's got one of those machines just tunneling right through the earth.
All right.
So, if you can find a cave or find a mine
Yes.
that you could buy, you can basically make that into, a house pretty easily.
And I know you've seen on a lot of these prepper shows, they buy the abandoned nuclear missile silo. That's cool, and you probably could fortify it. But I gotta say, I think most people would know it's there.
Yeah.
Even if you cover it up completely, that there's going to be people in town who are like, oh, the old missile silo out.
Yep.
I don't know. It just seems a little you could be in there, and I'm sure you could secure it 100%. But I don't know if you're ever coming out.
Right. You might just be in there.
But whatever.
Yeah.
That's not really what we're talking about. But yeah, like Kevin said, if you can find a, underground little setup, the secret tunnels and secret rooms out of people's houses, not a bad option.
Yeah. And actually, I was just driving around with my wife last week, actually. And we happened to drive past a couple of places and we were talking about it. There's a lot of old caves around here. And we were driving past Iron Mountain. It's a super secure place where you can lock up your data and store.
I believe they mentioned it in that Mr. Robot movie.
Oh, yeah?
They had out there. Yep.
Okay. Next one is Cut and Cover. That's the
TV
name
show.
of it.
Whatever.
Yeah, TV show. Cut and Cover. Now, basically, what you're going to do there is you're buying like precast concrete, like culverts. You want to get, not like the drainage culverts that you find. You're going to need, big stuff that you're going to be able to live in. You don't want to be crawling around from room to room. But you're basically going to dig out a hole.
You can buy that pipe and have it delivered,
Right.
to your house, and where it's 8-foot diameter or 10 foot, I don't know.
Right. And then, you're basically just going to dig the hole out and then construct it piece by piece with the concrete culverts. And then you can bury it, and it's good forever. The only thing you have to worry about with those is condensation. You really want to have a good sump pump set up to get the water out. Now, all these that we're talking about.
Is that why they use those for drainage ditches? You see
Yep.
what they did? Yep.
Now, what you really want to be careful too with these types of buildings, that you have good air ventilation too. Not just getting the water out, but you want to get clean air in.
Okay.
Now, in elevation, you see a lot of these houses. Elevation it's basically like a house that's built into the side of a hill, where you have like one wall exposed, maybe the roof, but you're gonna get pretty good cover. You have that one wall generally facing facing south. I guess if you're in Australia, it'd be facing north.
Everything's upside down over there.
So that you're getting the maximum amount of sun, coming in. And, when you're underground, a little bit of daylight can go a long way, Now, earthen berm.
Oh.
That's basically you're digging a hole or on a flat area, you're constructing the building, and then you're covering it over with earth. That's like the Hobbit houses,
Yep.
Now you were talking about a A-frame type of building.
Yeah,
and do
I mean
similar to
that was similar.
Ready.
Basically, Mike's go-to is he calls it the PSP method, post-shoring polyethylene.
Right.
And polyethylene is that plastic sheeting that you go buy it at Home Depot or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably buying it maybe for greenhouses or things like that. So basically what he does is he'll dig. He shows a bunch of different examples in his books, but I'm basing off like pretty much the focus on the book is this method. And what he does is he'll dig a hole and then have kind of like an open like alley that you head out of the
comes out. Yeah, cut into the ground. Yeah,
cut into the ground, kind of brings you back up to the main level. Now, then he basically it's like a lean-to, or he gives the example. He says like a shed roof.
Right.
If you think of just like a 30-degree angle kind of roof.
Mm-hmm.
And so he'll do posts in the front and then basically like a lean-to with the shed roof that goes back to imagine like 3 foot high in the back of it. And then, 7 foot, 8 foot in the front, and you just kind of have that angle and do it. So the PSP method, basically what he does is he digs a hole in the ground, drops a post in there, then does it on, both sides, the front and the back of the house. Mm-hmm. The back of the house, he's going to drop down. You dug it out. You have the hole. You drop in the posts, for this example, we'll say a foot away from the dirt in the back. Then he's going to run down the sheeting along the dirt. Mm-hmm. And then he's going to put the boards on the back side of the post and build it up.
Right.
And the boards, like he says, paneling, can be kind of anything. Mm-hmm. It really, it depends. He talks about his was done with like 2x, fill in the blank, 'cause it's just however many you stack it, 2x4, 2x6, 2x12s, whatever, and drops them in. Now, you could also use just like plywood, because you're just looking for something to hold the dirt back.
Right.
But just the same, it's not like there's a mountain up against you that's pressing against it. You dug the hole. It's already there.
Right.
You're not holding up, but you just don't want it to keep, coming forward.
As it slides. Yeah, and you want to have the polyethylene up
on the outside
to keep the water from seeping in.
And that's really its only purpose, is to keep the water. Now, we'll talk a little bit in a minute about how big these posts and beams and everything should be. But the bottom line, it's like a lean-to. Now, the idea is the way he sets it up, he puts like a wood stove, coal stove, whatever in the back. So you imagine like the 3-foot section.
Right.
And then runs a pipe along the roof and then puts it right out the chimney out the front. And like you said, heating up a space like this takes almost no effort.
Right.
Now, he talks about, the $50 house, because what he does is he's like, I just bought, a 55-gallon drum, and I bought, if you go to, he found some crappy stove that I don't know if he got for free or what. I don't know how he works that in there. He talks about his only expenses are like the plastic tarp and like chainsaw oil and, just nonsense. Like he didn't buy anything.
Right.
To me, you need a chainsaw. You can use an axe. It's all time.
Right.
It's what are you willing to trade, money or time?
And especially if you're doing this ahead of time.
Yeah.
If you're building this ahead of time, makes things much easier.
He talks about, you could he hand digs the first one, the one that he's talking about, the $50 one. But he's like, really, you could buy a used Bobcat and then just sell it when you're done with the job, and then it's free. That's,
Yeah, kinda.
That's, I could stay in a house for a year for free if I just buy it and then sell it at the end of the year.
Right.
It
doesn't always work out like that.
It's not
though.
quite the same thing,
Yeah.
but, so, that's kind of, but what you don't realize too, if you have time to plan this out, construction sites really do have tons of scrap wood they're throwing out. And if you're not picky on sizes and whatever, and you're willing to piece it together, which in a situation like this, you should be able to do, there is lots of free wood that you can get out there. And you know what? You can't tell me you haven't seen free pallets out there.
Right.
You could use pallets for your support
that's
wall
oak.
in the back. And they're solid. However, if you've ever tried to pull apart pallets to put the woods together, again, you're trading time for money.
A lot of time. Yeah, I was actually doing that this week after
brutal.
work every day. You got to pry the boards up a little bit, enough to get the Sawzall blade through there, because it's a lot easier to cut them than it is to pull
doing
those
a
nails.
Sawzall is really the way to go on those. So that's something, to consider. But anyway, so wood for the back. Now, for flooring, he had a couple of ideas that were kind of neat, and this would work with any, the type of houses. So he ended up putting straw down on the floor, and he said that was good. Now, if you're like me and the allergies kick your ass, that's not the way
idea.
to go. I'd be sneezing, runny nose, and it'd piss me off. What I was thinking about is like modern day now, you have money, you have time, you're planning it out. What if you went to Home Depot and you bought a bunch of those like pieced together rubber squares, that you put under like your workout room or whatever like that? That's going to keep the dust and everything from coming up and give you kind of a comfortable floor. Another thing he talks about, like in Mexico, where they have the wood floors or dirt floors in a lot of the poorer areas, they actually take water and wipe it down and just keep it damp. And so that way, it isn't kicking up dust. Now, he said that in the Southwest, they used to put linseed oil on it.
On the dirt?
On the dirt. Now, work with me. He said they would spread the linseed oil out all over it, then let it cure for 24 hours, do it a second time, and then he said it ended up being like a cracked concrete look.
Really?
And he said it hardens up really nice, and it's easy, and it's cheap.
Uh-huh.
So that might be an option. I mean, I imagine about $30 you could buy enough linseed oil to do that. That's not really a big deal. Some people, you could do the vinyl flooring that you buy at Lowe's or whatever,
right,
and just roll that crap down. That's not going to look so nice, but, again, it's better than dirt,
Right.
Anything you can put on the bottom to, help insulate or like that is going to really make a difference. What else? Oh, drainage. So sometimes water, you get worried about that kind of thing. Now, he talked about if you have that kind of 30-degree pitch in your roof, pretty much the water's going to just like run downhill, path of least resistance kind of thing.
Right.
and it shouldn't be a problem.
And ideally, you're going to put this house on a hill where the roof is going to match the pitch of the hill.
Exactly. The way he did it, it's funny because it follows the pitch. Like if you stared at the mountainside, you wouldn't see anything. It goes even with the mountain, except for the little cutout at the front where he has like a little trail that's basically like a channel cut in the ground that, loops around.
Right.
He does talk about that what you could do. He calls it a French drain. Now, I've been to France, and I didn't see any of these. And I knew about this drain before I went to France, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. But basically, he says you dig a foot down, you fill it with gravel, and you call that a drain.
Right.
I mean, maybe because it's half-assed? Is that why you call it the French drain?
That's just an old construction method. You have it, the gravel basically has the spaces in between it.
Right.
The water sits in there.
He talks about doing, one. He says he just had one at the front of his, right by the entryway, and that was enough. Now, he has the face of his lean-to, and then there's like a 3-foot standing area patio, basically, and that helped with the sunlight coming in.
Right.
But he put the drain out there, and he said he never had a problem. He said, if you had a problem that it, began to flood and whatever, he said they had a really bad rain one time, and he ended up digging a hole that the water would collect in, and he just bailed it out once a day. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's the option. You know, if you're getting a wet spot, you dig a hole. How many times have you seen people do that in their basements here, Right. You put a sump pump in the hole in your basement, and you call it good.
It fills up, pump turns on, goes out.
And whatever.
And turns off.
I mean, that's an option. You could throw one in the back of it. But that's pretty much the gist of it. Now, he talks about some pretty substantial beams. I don't know that I would do that.
That's why your underground house would collapse on you.
That's what he would say.
Yeah.
You see, you're sounding like this Mike guy.
Yeah. Dirt gets heavy quick.
Dirt gets heavy quick. So he consulted an engineer.
A yard a ton is what dirt weighs.
Okay. So he consulted an engineer, and basically for posts, he said the posts didn't have to be actually as thick as some of the other stuff. But the posts, if they were every 4-foot spacing, you would need 7 inches in diameter.
Okay.
If you went to 8-foot spacing, you would need 9 inches in diameter. The beams, now let me get this straight here. The beams are the long way.
Right. Posts are up and down, beams are side to side.
Right. And I got another one for you. It's beams, girders, and posts. So that's the whole thing. So the posts are up and down. The beams are the long. So from the 3-foot section up to the front. The beams, if you're going 4 foot, he says 6-inch diameter is enough. 5 foot, 7-inch, just, pretty much 8 foot. He does 9.5. You get the idea, though. Girders, he has running the opposite way. They're running the sideway.
The beams sit on the girders.
Yes, that is correct. So the beams sit on the girders. Girders for 4 foot, he does 11-inch. So you're getting the kind of idea. And then he does the same thing of the 2x for the planks that he lays across.
Right.
And then stacks the dirt. Now, with those size logs, and he talks about the different types of wood, but it didn't really vary much.
Yeah.
He was like, if they're pine, you need to consider that, as like, I don't know, like 4/5 of an inch, on that equation. If you're going to do it seriously and building a big, elaborate thing, buy his book for $20. And
right. Now, if you're
he has all his stuff.
Warren's friend, Jerry
would be into this.
You're going to want to go get the book. Unless you already got plans.
He's already got plans? Yeah, I would get the book. All right. So, Jerry, he's our new listener. Is he listening?
New listener.
He's Warren's friend. I got that. All right. Just checking. So, that would be the gist on that. Then what I would say, he says that's good for 2 feet of earth on top.
Okay.
So that's pretty substantial.
Yeah, that's a good bit.
Obviously, you're going to be laying plastic on there and then the earth.
Right.
That way your roof isn't going to leak. But 2 feet, it's probably not going to leak anyway because it's not coming through all that. But that said, I would shoot for, if I'm doing this by hand and out in the middle of the woods and I'm trying to get a shelter up, I'm probably doing a lot thinner on my logs, and I'm probably doing like 8 inches up there of dirt because whatever.
Right.
I mean, really, somebody can walk over and you're not going to have a problem with 8 inches. You know what I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, you can get away with about 4 if you got plywood or 2x4s up there. You know, I mean, you just need enough to hide it. I don't know that now, obviously with 2 feet, you're getting some serious insulation value.
Right.
And
your heat's staying
some real benefits there.
Right.
But again, I'm talking about if I'm trying to build some crap in the woods and I'm trying to feed my family and survive and whatever, planned out, yes. I'm going substantial.
I think this is really a project for to get ready beforehand.
He used the word house, not shelter.
Right.
So, whatever. Take it as it is. But that's pretty much the gist of it. The other thing was he wanted to point out that Bears,
huh?
Turns out bears like to go in underground houses.
All right.
And he doesn't say that this is wrong, but there's a little moral story in the beginning about if a bear comes in your house and you shoot it in the face, he goes to the proper government authorities. By the end of the story, I would recommend against that.
Oh, it was an issue, huh?
Turns out that was a mistake. He was like, look, it was self-defense. It was trying to kill me and my wife. And I'm willing to, have it butchered and donate the meat to a shelter. And they're like, no, we're finding you.
Oh, no.
No. So just something to keep in mind.
Okay.
All right.
Now, the last little house idea that I was looking at was an atrium-style underground house. Now, this was pretty interesting. I saw a couple of them that I thought were pretty neat. But basically what you would do is, go down 20 feet, and you're going to leave an opening in the center. You're going to build the rooms all around the outside, and then you're going to have basically like an atrium or a patio or even a garden in the middle there. And you can basically, from there, dig a well that has wind power pump, to keep everything pumped and fill up a tank, and run some basic solar panels to power it, and you're basically on your own. I saw some really neat plans for that. So check out Atrium Underground Atrium Homes, and
I like that.
Check that out. It's pretty neat designs. There's actually somebody in Japan that was planning one, but was basically making like a shopping center like that, and it hasn't been built yet, and it's like one of those things that they talked about but never really did. So who fucking knows?
Okay.
All right.
So Kevin, actually, speaking of underground houses, one of our listeners, Sophie, reached out to me this week.
Yeah.
And she had mentioned that they were a little concerned over there in New Zealand that there's some kind of gun confiscation happening.
Yeah. Yep.
And I was thinking maybe Sophie and Alex would want to maybe build an underground house, and maybe it would be actually an underground armory, and maybe that's where the stockpile moves. Maybe all your neighbors want to turn it. You know what? You could go volunteer to turn in all their guns for them, and that could be something you could do this weekend.
A good way to store guns long term.
Yes.
55-gallon drum. Guns all go in. Fill it with oil. Seal it up.
That sounds like a mess. That's what that sounds like.
It sounds like a mess getting them back out.
Yeah, that's what that sounds like. That sounds horrible, Kevin.
Yep, they'll last forever.
I have one. I ordered some. I ordered. I've never ordered a gun before. I mean, but I heard of somebody ordering an upper. And they ordered from so many companies that they didn't even know which one was which.
Okay.
However, when he finally got around to pulling out the box and pulling out the upper, the bag that the upper was in was just like dripping oil out the end of it. And I'm like,
Ooh.
oh, that's kind of gross. And I got to say, it was like a week of cleaning this thing for my friend.
Right.
You know, before
yeah.
he was able to use it and really get it set up properly.
Now, for doing some shout-outs, I'd like to shout out
Did you want to mention that maybe Alex is driving a truck somewhere and...
Yeah, I think he knows who we're talking about.
He knows you're in New Zealand somewhere?
Yeah, I wanted to...
There's only like one Alex in New Zealand,
well,
right?
there's about 5 million people in New Zealand. So I'm thinking maybe 3.
3?
Yeah.
All right. So you know who you are. And we appreciate you guys listening.
Yeah, and I'd like to do a shout out for George Clooney.
Yeah.
We've got his Casamigos mezcal.
Casa not gonna drink it anymore.
Yeah, it tastes like straight shit. Worst mezcal I've ever had in my life.
Now that was
George
given
Clooney,
to
you should
us
be ashamed of yourself.
by a distributor who's a fan of the show.
Yeah, I would never have bought
And
anything
he's like,
from
you
George
know, I
Clooney.
have something great you guys might want to enjoy.
Yeah.
And no.
No.
The word's hammered dog shit. Although the bottle is very festive.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like a chalkboard, kind of pastel-y.
Right, like a chalkboard that was written on and you cleaned it not so very well. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And it doesn't taste that good, though. You'd rather lick the chalkboard.
Yeah, it's definitely would be better off with eating chalk. But,
all right.
whatever. At least he's trying, you know?
We all have dreams.
Right.
I always like George Clooney for that. Like, there are so many people that I completely disagree with politically, but at least he goes out and does stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know, he was the first celebrity voice on South Park, where he played a gay dog, and the only voice that he did was the dog bark. So there you go.
A fun fact.
Fun fact. Now you know.
Things are falling apart quickly. You said you had other shout-outs?
No, that was it. Just George Clooney.
George Clooney was your shout-out?
George Clooney and his shit mezcal.
Oh, no. So that's a little disturbing. Yeah. So I think maybe you need to go get a shovel this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, really start burying guns is what it sounds like.
Yeah, if you're in New Zealand.
I think if you're anywhere, I think they're all hot and heavy.
Right, right. If your gun is not registered, hide it now.
Hide it now.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also, somebody's got to save me and go on iTunes and leave a review.
Okay.
Because somehow there's all the reviews, and the most recent one is, I assume it's me because I'm always the I'm willing to blame you, but I feel like it's probably me.
Yeah, it's probably you, but I'll take the blame.
You'll take the blame? All right.
I'm all right with that.
So they're like, oh, somebody, these guys they need to take a basic speech class or something. I think they failed kindergarten or something like that. So somehow if you type in most recent, this comes up, and most relevant, this comes up.
Comes up because everybody else says, yeah, he does do that all the time.
He does do that.
That's the most helpful.
So,
remember the most helpful one before that, or the most relevant one before that, was one where he called us cucks.
Yeah, a couple of cucks.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's good
I
stuff.
haven't figured that
I mean,
out.
honestly, the reviews are amazing. Even the bad ones are
Well, I like when there's 5 stars.
importantly or impressively insulting.
You can talk bad about us, but in a 5-star kind of way.
Right. There you go.
So with that, stay safe, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
The Survival and Basic Badass Podcast is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network.
Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.